A second-degree murder charge in connection to a recent death on Academy Drive. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay Police have released details about the city's second homicide of the year.
The victim was a 38-year-old city woman, but her identity isn't being made public. It happened at this apartment complex. Police were called there last Wednesday, March 27th, and found the woman dead at the scene. It took investigators several days to confirm the death was criminal in nature, and they made an arrest in the case last night. 41-year-old Zachariah Punish has been charged with second-degree murder. Detective Inspector Jeremy Pearson spoke about the homicide this afternoon.
Upon arrival, they did locate a female who was pronounced deceased at the scene. As a result, our major crime unit became involved. Our investigation progressed to the point that following a post-mortem in Toronto, grounds were formed for the charge of second-degree murder, and that charge has been laid after an arrest made on the 1st of April. I will say only that the accused and victim were known to each other. We do not believe this to have been a random act.
Are you able to release the name of the victim?
At this point in time, in consultation with the family, we're not releasing the name of the victim publicly.
Punish appeared in bail court today and remains in custody, pending his next court appearance.
A person has drowned in the Wabagoon River in Dryden after falling through the ice yesterday afternoon. OPP say it happened just off of Keller Road. Police, fire, and paramedics all responded and launched an extensive search after the male victim fell through, but he was later found deceased. No other details about the victim are available at this time.
Shelter House Thunder Bay has a new executive director after an extensive search to fill the vacant position. Brendan Carlin has been named to the role.
Carlin previously served as the RFDA's Manager of Community Services. He says he's ready to take on this new challenge. Nev Van Pelt reports.
Brendan Carlin says his many years of experience at the Regional Food Bank should serve him well in his new job, running the shelter house.
A lot of the same issues that we faced when I was at the RFDA are faced here at Shelter House. So there are funding issues, there are staffing issues, there charities all over the city and all over the country for that matter are facing similar challenges, and I'm familiar with them. I'm also familiar with food security. That's what we dealt with at the RFDA, and that's Shelter House is on the front lines of that.
The chair of the board for the Shelter House, Paul Capon, says they were excited to hire Carlin for the important position running the main homeless shelter on the city's south side.
He has wonderful skills, both in the managerial side and also on the fundraising side. Certainly, experience and knowledge of food insecurity was very helpful as well. And plus, the RFDA has been very supportive in the past, and he has worked with some of the similar clients. So it was a good fit for us to have him. And he is local, he knows the scene in Thunder Bay, and we're very pleased about that.
As the executive director, Carlin will be responsible for client and staffing needs, fundraising, meeting with donors, consulting with governments, and developing partnerships.
My plan is to learn as much as I can, talking to the staff, learning about the organization. I had a familiarity with the organization, but not the small details. So I want to go in and look at the finances, look at the staffing, look at scheduling and all that. And at that point, come up with a plan moving forward.
Nev Van Pelt, TBT News.
The Thunder Bay Art Gallery has received a $1 million donation to support its new waterfront location.
The Patterson Foundation announced the donation at the gallery earlier this afternoon. Jess Clement has the details.
Patterson Foundation President Alexander Patterson was at the Thunder Bay Art Gallery Tuesday afternoon to announce a major funding gift to help support the new Waterfront Gallery project.
An additional $1 million gift to the Thunder Bay Waterfront Art Gallery.
Patterson says they wanted to support the project because of how important it is to the further development of the city's waterfront.
This will be an amazing addition to what is already just an absolutely beautiful waterfront, and the signature aspect of the attraction to Thunder Bay being on Lake Superior. The new Waterfront Art Gallery will be a remarkable place for connection with art and nature.
The donation brings the gallery's latest capital campaign, which was relaunched back in September, to over $1.5 million raised. The waterfront project previously had an estimated budget of $57 million. However, Executive Director Matthew Hills says they don't know the final budget figure yet due to the construction management model they've chosen to pursue.
We are seeking value efficiencies and value in the tender and construction process. So it's an ongoing, evolving process that we've identified some significant savings. At the same time, you also see increased construction costs and supply chain issues that still continue to be a problem along with inflation. So we are balancing and we are being extremely rigorous in budget management and finding value.
Foundation work for the gallery started last summer, and the concrete walls are now starting to take shape. Hills says he's confident they'll meet their late 2025 to early 2026 target.
Everything is on schedule. We're 20%, more than 20% complete on the building itself. And we've been really fortunate in terms of a mild winter to help us realize that. So yeah, we're confident in those numbers and processes, but we do need to keep focused on the capital campaign and making sure that we're fundraising to ensure this space is realized on that schedule.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Premier Doug Ford and the chiefs of Webequie and Martin Falls First Nations were the special guests at an event in Toronto today.
The Indigenous-led Projects Forum heard more about planned roads into the Ring of Fire and the environmental assessment process that's being led by the two communities. Jonathan Wilson has the story.
Government can't do this alone. We need to and want to work hand in hand with our First Nations partners.
Premier Doug Ford spoke at this event promoting Indigenous-led development projects. Back in 2022, Ford and the chiefs of Martin Falls and Webequie First Nations announced plans for the Northern Road Link. The two communities are guiding the work done in the environmental assessment for the proposed access roads to their communities and the Ring of Fire. That process continues, and Ford says the new roads will make it easier for all First Nations along the route to access essential supplies and services.
We're thrilled that Martin Falls and Webequie First Nations are leading on environmental assessments for the roads that will one day become the corridor to prosperity. This partnership will get shovels in the ground much faster and ensure the Ring of Fire communities are all full participants in future economic development opportunities in the region.
The chiefs of Webequie and Martin Falls say the future jobs for their young people are a big reason why they agreed to lead the way to create new access roads to their territory.
Martin Falls and Webequie have long been involved in discussions with Ontario government with resource development and activity on our lands, and rightly so, as the traditional land stewards of those areas.
You know, our community is, population of 1,000 people now, and, and we need to see prosperity in our community. We need to see development. We need to see, our young people prosper from the resources that are out there.
Some communities, such as Nescantica, are opposing the roads, but Wabass and Ashley Penescum hope they and others will eventually agree to be part of it. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Federal Minister Patty Hajdu was at Thunder Bay City Hall today, touting another announcement relating to her government's upcoming budget. The Trudeau Liberals are committing to a number of housing initiatives nationwide, including the creation of a $6 billion housing infrastructure fund. Fellow Liberal MP Marcus Pawlowski joined Hajdu to promote their party's latest budget announcement. The bulk of the infrastructure funding, $5 billion, will be divvied up among the provinces and territories as long as they can come to an agreement with the feds by January 1st. The rest will be available directly for municipalities. The announcement also includes a $400 million top-up of the Housing Accelerator Fund, but after the Prime Minister's recent announcement that Thunder Bay will get $21 million from that fund, Hajdu says the city probably won't see any of the new money.
Likely it'll go to other communities that weren't successful in the first round. But I think what's important to Thunder Bay is the infrastructure. $1 billion will go directly to municipalities so we can kickstart the process. And that, I think Thunder Bay would have a good chance of getting some of that $1 billion for the underlying civil engineering that goes beneath the houses that the city is hoping to build.
As a municipality who has a huge land area, federal assistance is even more welcome because we have a bit of distance between our housing clusters. So we want to intensify the densification.
The more people we have living on existing infrastructure, the better, because that spreads out the cost amongst more people. So we want density because this reduces the cost of services and helps make life more affordable here in Thunder Bay.
Stevenson says the city will look at road, water, and sewer extensions in the downtown cores, Intercity, and Westport, and we'll have more on the federal announcements later in the news hour.
Flags are being raised around the province today in celebration of World Autism Day. Locally, a flag was raised at City Hall, kicking off Autism Ontario's Celebrate the Spectrum initiative. It features a number of events in the north and around Ontario over the next couple of weeks. Autism event specialist Ariana McLean says their goal is to create supportive and inclusive spaces for people with autism. She adds that being able to fly the flag at City Hall is important.
The more flags across Ontario on April 2nd, the better. We're hoping it becomes a household thing where everyone flies their flag for April 2nd and we all celebrate our diverse communities and World Autism Day.
We have, a diverse population, and I think by doing these types of, proclamations, flag raisings, it's a clear indication that we see you and you matter and you're a welcome part of our community.
The flag will be up at City Hall until next week.
For the first time, the Thunder Bay Public Library is raising funds through a Library Giving Day campaign. The one-day online fundraising event will take place tomorrow, and Lowry's will match up to $1,500 worth of donations. Library Giving Day has slowly become a worldwide event and has now made it to Thunder Bay. Local organizers hope that besides raising money, it also raises awareness that the public library is a registered charity and serves as a cornerstone of the community. All proceeds raised tomorrow will go directly to the library's programs and services.
Lowry's and I started talking a few months ago about how they could help support the library. And when we decided to join Library Giving Day, they jumped on board right away and said, absolutely, we'll match up to $1,500. And it's so great to have a local business supporting the Thunder Bay Public Library.
Giving back's a big part of what we do, and especially with partners like the Thunder Bay Public Library. So it's a very simple equation for us. Give back, help awareness, and hopefully we bring in more people and more clients for the library is important to us.
Donations can be submitted online at tbpl.ca/giving.
Tickets are now on sale for the 38th annual Fort William Rotary House Lottery. The popular fundraiser kicked off today with a media tour of the luxury home that's up for grabs this year. The 1,300 square foot, two-story custom-built home is located on Broome Crescent in the Parkdale subdivision. It's valued at $750,000. It comes with an attached garage, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a deluxe kitchen. It could be yours this upcoming Canada Day with a purchase of a $100 ticket or 3 for $250. Last year, close to 19,000 of the 20,000 tickets were sold, raising upwards of $600,000 to support local charities. The Rotary has now fully partnered with the Regional Health Sciences Foundation. Organizers hope the move to online tickets only will bring a complete sellout.
This year is our first time that we're actually doing it all online, and it will allow us to sell tickets right up until the night before the draw, actually, which is really nice. In the past, we've had to shut down a week before, and so now we can sell right up to midnight the night before the draw.
And this year we're in partnership from the very beginning. We've been very successful. We've figured out a few things along the way, and we want to apply those to the Fort William House Lottery so that we can float everybody's boat higher. And this is a great opportunity to invest a few $100s in your community, help support some local charities, and somebody is going to be a homeowner on July 1st.
The draw date is July 1st at 12 noon, and along with the grand prize, ticket holders are also eligible for some $5,000 and $10,000 early bird prizes being awarded weekly from April 12th until June 21st.
No doubt a lot of tickets will be sold for
absolutely.
that house. A lot of people will want to get in on that. All right, turning our attention to weather now, Haley. A nice seasonal day out there today.
Yes, we did reach our seasonal high, but it's always funny. I find it happens when we're all in the studio. We often don't get to enjoy it as much because our high of 5 degrees did come at this hour. So currently we're sitting at 5 degrees and that is our high for the day. Our low happened around 6 a.m. this morning and it was -10, feeling like -13 with the wind chill. And we've seen a shift in winds throughout the day from the west-southwest to the east-northeast, and it's been kind of back and forth. And we've had a mostly cloudy day, but yes, we have reached our seasonal values for this time of year. And as we look across the region, we can see that that's pretty much the trend. So a lot of areas are around the 4, 5, and 6 degree mark. And we had some pleasant surprises today, like in Red Lake. They were predicted last night to see snow or light snow into this morning, but they had just a partly cloudy day and they still are seeing some cloudy skies. They're currently at 6 degrees. It was actually Kenora that saw light snow today, and that cleared up around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're at 5 degrees right now. Sioux Lookout also at 5, same with Uppsala. And then Dryden saw a mostly cloudy day. They're currently at 6 degrees right now. Fort Frances is overcast and 3 degrees. And then some warmer areas. Armstrong is at 7, Marathon's at 7. And Nipigon actually saw 7 degrees today as well, but they're currently at 6 degrees. Greenstone is sunny and 6 degrees, but what we're going to really see as our interesting spots in the region over the next little while is more to the southeast, especially when we look at our national later. We'll see that there's a large system coming in and we're already seeing the start of that in Sault Ste. Marie. They're starting to see some rainfall, but they are at 9 degrees and they saw a high of 11. So I hope they enjoyed their warmer temperatures earlier today because it is going to get a little messy. But as for Thunder Bay, tonight we are going to drop down to -3, feeling like -10 with the wind chill. So a fairly significant wind chill adjustment there because our winds will be coming from the north and they'll be gusting between 30 and 50 kilometers an hour. And now we do have a chance of getting a little messy as well, as there's a 30% chance of flurries or rain showers this evening. But mainly partly cloudy for the most part. So like I mentioned, a system's coming through. I'll have more details on that later.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Haley. Well, we'll turn our attention now to national news, and we'll start off in Gaza, where 7 aid workers, including a Canadian American, were killed by an Israeli airstrike, with Israel calling it a tragic incident. We'll have more on that as your Tuesday News Hour continues.
It just shows us that operating in these types of situations, say IDF just can't seem to minimize the collateral damage.